Namaste and welcome to another Marketing Shots. In today's Marketing Shot, I will be sharing an observation that I noticed after running an experiment on Facebook ads. So, this experiment was mainly around tracking the purchase conversion on Facebook. So, a little bit of background. So, as you all know, that Facebook's conversion tracking got seriously affected after that iOS 14, update came into the picture, and this entire year, the tracking has been shit. I will use that word. Sorry, don't get offended. But yeah, so pretty much, because of that update, what happened is that basically, very important events such as purchase or let's say, checkout initiative and stuff like that, these events in Facebook started getting delayed in tracking in our campaigns, and because of which the campaigns are not able to utilize to their maximum potential. I will say that it is not really, it hasn't really created a very major effect, but it has affected 40% of the campaigns. Let's say, especially in those countries where the iOS users are more than the Android users, because this entire problem is related to iPhones. Um, so the little experiment that I ran was that I, instead of tracking the purchase conversion using the default, like using the common way, which is basically installing the purchase event tracking code on your website if it's not on Shopify or WordPress, or if it's a Shopify or WordPress website, then just installing the Facebook Pixel and all the events gets tracked automatically. What I did was that basically decided to track the actual purchase confirmation URL. So, for example, let's say my website URL is xyz.com, and whenever someone purchases from the website, the order confirmation URL that appears is xyz.com/order confirmation. So I said that okay, I wanna find out how many people visit this page from my campaign, and that will be counted as a purchase in Facebook ads for me. So what I did was I created a custom conversion, and I put the URL there and said that I want to track people coming from this particular page from my campaigns. I want to be tracked as purchase conversion. Now, one disadvantage of this thing is that basically I will not be able to track revenue anymore from my Facebook campaigns. That if I have spent $100, at how much revenue has my Facebook campaign generated, because I'm not using the standard or the common purchase conversion tracking, but because I'm just tracking the purchase URL. So that's why I will only see the number of orders and not the actual revenue generated from it, which is totally fine. I usually also don't pay much attention to the revenue generated because I use Google Analytics to track the entire framework, because I want to have a 360 view of the revenue and stuff rather than just Facebook's revenue, tracking. Because once again, because of that iOS 14 update, the Facebook tracking or the revenue tracking on Facebook was once again delayed because purchases were not getting tracked on a regular basis. So basically what happened when I did that. So I ran this experiment for almost 2 weeks, and one thing that I noticed was that the purchase conversion actually became a bit better than earlier. So basically there was no more delays, or I will not say no more delays, but there was only the the the, the conversion tracking time actually became faster than what it was earlier. So let's say if earlier the purchase conversion was getting tracked after let's say 3 to 4 hours, now it was only getting tracked within 1 hour. So it became 2 hours faster, I will say, in a way. But I hope you understand what I mean. So basically, the converge tracking actually became much better if I when I was tracking the order confirmation page, and because of that, my campaign, because all these campaigns that I ran was with the objective was to generate more purchases on my custom conversion that I created, because these were conversion campaigns. So the campaign was able to optimize itself in a much better way, and within after 2 to 3 days, I started seeing some good results from the campaigns. Like my purchase conversion increased. I started generating consistent purchases of let's say at least 3 days, let's say three purchases in a day, and then I was able to scale it further to let's say 5 to 6 purchases from my different campaigns, not just from single campaign. But overall, I really liked running this experiment, because now, number one, I was able to get the correct number of purchases that my campaign generated during that single day. I don't have to rely on Google Analytics to keep on checking that what is the actual sale orders that Facebook campaign generated using the UTM parameters. So for example, let's say even if I forget about adding a UTM parameter to track the sale in Google Analytics, I can still figure out that this particular thing came from Facebook campaign, because I can see the correct number of sale orders in there. And really, I really like the way the campaign, performing it well, because at the end of the day, Facebook ad platform or any Google ad platform or any pay-per-click platform is all artificial intelligence based. We need to feed it data in order for the campaigns to optimize itself. And if we are sending them delayed data, then of course the campaign optimization also gets delayed. So I ran this little test. It has proven to be 40% effective because now conversions are getting tracked easily. Uh, but then once again, because iOS is iOS, so there was still a bit of a delay from the iOS users because delays were coming from there, and that's why it was still affecting with the conversion event. For Android users, there's not a such challenge. The purchases get instantly tracked. But this little hack can be tried for for those countries where the iOS population is really really high. Let's say United States, United Kingdom, or let's say some Switzerland or some expensive country in Europe. There the number of iOS users or iPhone users are really high, and if we are selling some product there, so I would really recommend if you want to switch to this tactic of purchasing conversion so that our campaigns can optimize itself in a much better way. Because tracking revenue, we can still track it using Google Analytics or from our website's backend easily, that how much revenue we are generating based on XYZ. Because number one thing about Facebook ads is that Facebook ads doesn't have an option to put bidding based on generating high ROIs. For example, in case of Google Ads, there is an option where you can put the campaign strategy to, let's say I want to generate 2x than what I'm spending in ad spend. So let's say if my ad spend is $200, I wanna generate a sale worth of $400. So there's an option there in Google Ads, but there's no such option in Facebook ads, and that's why I don't really see tracking revenue as a very important thing in Facebook ads. Right now, the most important thing in Facebook ads is to track the conversions correctly. And if the conversions are being tracked correctly and there's no delay in conversion tracking, like a huge delay, there's no huge delay in conversion tracking, I would say, then the campaigns also start performing pretty well once they finish their learning mode, or even if they're not able to finish their learning mode, but still they perform much better when the conversions are being tracked correctly. So I really love this particular experiment. I will keep on testing out with few other clients and see how it works. But this was my analysis when I ran this experiment in November, and I thought let's give it a try and see how it works. And I really liked it. And mainly I ran this experiment in India. So in India, the population of iOS and Android is like, you can say 60, 40, 55, 50, whatever you want to say. It's very, the balance is there. So a lot of people use iPhone here as well. So that's why I will not say that the analysis is wrong in here. I think we can cut this part. Analysis is not wrong, but I tried this in the Indian market and it worked pretty good. I will try this strategy in the UK market whenever I get a chance and see how it works. And if it works pretty well there, then I think I have a successful experiment that I can keep on testing with new and new clients. So that was my little experimentation, and I'm happy that it worked. I would have been a bit sad if it didn't work because I took a huge risk by not following the standard tracking of purchases, and it was pretty hard to convince the people for whom I was running this experiment. So yeah, that's it. That's it for today's marketing shot. Let me know if you guys try some experiments like this and how it went. I would really love to hear your thoughts as well. So cheers.